If you feel like your craft space is technically organized, but you still avoid using it, or things somehow keep piling back up, then this is the piece you might be missing. At this point, it's probably not about organizing, it's about what happens after. Hi, everybody, it's Whitney with Girl Friday Crafts, and today we're going to dive a little bit more into the T in my craft space organization acronym, which is troubleshoot, because that is what we're actually doing here. By the time you get to this step, so if you've watched my previous videos where we talked about categorizing, reducing, assigning a home, and functional containers, you've done all of those things, your space should be working for you. But this troubleshooting step is where you make it work really well or perfect that system that you've created. You're not starting over by any stretch of the imagination. You are paying attention to what is still not clicking. So this is actually sort of your maintenance piece. Your system shouldn't require motivation to maintain. If it does, then something needs to be fixed. So instead of saying, I need to clean up my craft space, think in terms of a reset routine. So it's sort of like the idea of a 2-minute reset, maybe 5 minutes, depending on how intensive the project was. But before you leave your space, before you start scrolling on your phone, set a timer and reset at least your main surface. The goal is not perfection. The goal is to make your space ready for you for the next time so that you don't avoid it. You don't go to sit down and work on a project and can't because you have to clean up everything that was left over from the project before. Even if doing that feels hard, that is a system clue. So if doing that sort of 5-minute, 2 to 5 minute reset of your main space feels difficult, that is an indication that there's something not quite clicking in how the space is set up. So that's where the troubleshooting comes in. It's where everything shifts. It's where you stop blaming yourself, because this is not about lack of organization. This is not about lack of motivation or skill. It's a systems problem. And you start paying attention to what your space is telling you. So anytime you notice you are hesitating, avoiding something, getting annoyed, or just out loud when you look at a stack of supplies that you need to put away, that's data. And so turn yourself into a detective. Every annoyance is a clue. And then ask yourself, is this hard to put away and why? Is the container hard to reach? Is the container hard to get into? Does it make sense where it lives? If the answer is yes, if the answer isn't yes to any, so now you're becoming a detective. Every annoyance is a clue. So you're going to ask yourself a series of questions. Is the supply hard to put away? And then why is it hard to put away? Is the container difficult to get into? Does the location not make sense? If you answer yes to any of those, then it's not a you problem, it's a system problem. Annoyed, out loud saying ugh when you have to put something away, this is data. And this is the time when you become a detective. Every annoyance is a clue. So I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. Instead of asking, why am I not putting this away? I want you to ask, is this annoying to put it away? Do I have to think about where it goes? Is this not where I would naturally look for it? If the answer is yes to any of those, you don't have a you problem, it's a system problem. So if you keep leaving something out, ask why. If you keep rebuying supplies you know you already have, that's a visibility issue. If you are avoiding using something, that's a storage issue. This isn't about fixing you. There is this idea that just because you've struggled to be organized or stay organized in the past, that you aren't capable of it, which is not true. It's a skill like anything else. And it's about fixing a system. That's one of the things I've talked about in all of my videos. Everything I recommend, every process I recommend is about building a sustainable system for your craft space and your craft supplies, because a system is what helps you stay organized. So as you are working in your craft space, start to notice these things and think about what's working. Always think about what's working. Don't fix what's not broken, right? Then think about what is annoying, what am I avoiding, what is one small tweak that I can test. That's it. You're not talking about having to overhaul your entire space. We're talking about honing in on one area that is not working the way you want it to. We're not buying new containers yet either. We're making some adjustments first to what we already have. So the goal here isn't a perfect space. We talked about that before. I don't do Pinterest perfect, right? It's a space that works for you without effort, and that might require some tweaks over time. So tell me, I would love to know in the comments, if you know this already, what's the most annoying part of your craft space right now? And what are some ideas that you have to tweak that? There is a worksheet in your in your there is a worksheet in the video description that you can download. It is it's a put away test, and it walks you through those questions that I asked you to consider when you run up against something that you're struggling with not putting away, or that area of your space that just still doesn't feel right. And that way you can use that worksheet over and over again to sort of analyze that space. Because if you don't know immediately what you need to fix, sometimes you got to sit and think about it and maybe take a few notes when you're working with supplies from that area, or write down what you tried and didn't work, and so that you know what you might need to do differently. It does sometimes take a little bit of time. So the goal here isn't a perfect space. We've talked about that. I don't do Pinterest perfect. The goal is a space that works for you without effort. So I would love to know in the comments if there is a area in your room that is the most annoying part right now, or area in your craft space that's annoying you right now, and what tweaks you might think you need to make. I do have a worksheet for you all this week. Link is in the video description. It's called your troubleshoot worksheet, and it's going to walk you through all of those questions that I outlined earlier for a space that is annoying you, an area in your craft supplies that is annoying you, so that you can jot yourself some notes, walk through those questions, and help you figure out where you might need to tweak. It's also a way that you can keep track of the tweaks that you've tried to see if they work or not, because something that works in this area might work well in this area too, and then you don't necessarily have to repeat the process. So yeah, so grab that in the video description. If you have any questions, let me know. Next week, I am thinking about doing a live Q&A. So if you have questions, send them to me and I can answer them live. If you're not able to join, it would be about 10:30 on Wednesday, my normal time, Central Time. Well, if I can't do that next week, I haven't checked my calendar to be perfectly honest. I will be doing that soon, because I think that would be fun. So thank you for hanging out with me. Let me know what you think about today's video. If you found this helpful, let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.